3, 2, 1. Boom. And we're back with another episode of Socratic Gamers. Yet another Socratic Dialogue taking over the weekly roundup, just in case you jump in on this episode. Or no, you've been in listening to last episodes, old episodes, and then you're like, oh, how come they don't do weekly roundups anymore? That's pretty much because Vish figured out an efficient way. I wonder how many times I'm going to repeat this exact same phrase.
Maybe probably a few more times.
Yeah, until it gets assumed. Like 20 episodes in,
right.
I'll just stop using this same intro.
Yeah.
Anyways, instead of doing the 4 things we thought were cool from the week, we switched it to Socratic Dialogue. We still have movie reviews and all that to differentiate those ones. But when we talk about ideas and stuff, this is pretty much where they live now. So if you want to listen to ideas, listen to Socratic Dialogue. Yeah. So this one is, does money buy happiness? Does money buy happiness? So
one of the oldest questions.
One of the oldest questions of all time. So I guess where we should start is, where did money come from?
Okay.
The origin of money.
Right.
So actually, even before the origin of money, let's go before the origin of money.
Right.
So when we were hunter gatherers, we would trade things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It'd be this loaf of bread for your fish.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Or my time for your, flowers.
Huh? Well, okay.
I don't know. It's simple trade, right? There was trade.
Yes, trade. Yes.
Trade before there was money. But I guess money is still
but
trade.
That is still.
But it's more bartering. It was barter system. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Right. But now we have a system in place, and that was to replace the cow, I believe. I think it was in that book.
What?
I think it's Sapiens.
Okay.
I think it was in Sapiens.
Okay.
Or the history of economics. I can't remember. There's one of those books, but it was we would have cows, right? You'd bring cows with you, and then instead of bringing the cow, because if you're gonna go from the market, from your farm to the market, it's so far, right? So what they invented was gold. Right. So from inventing gold, so it'd be okay, I'll give you give me this cow, I'll give you this piece of gold. It's a relative amount to the cow.
Okay.
Right. So it would be or actually even before that, it was shells and pebbles, rare things, and then they invented gold.
Okay.
Just to be technical and meticulous about our explanation.
Right.
From there, created banking systems, and the way banking systems worked was you could only lend out money that you had on reserve via gold in your vault. So every bank actually had a stockpile of gold, physical gold,
right?
Just in case they had to pay something off, they can give away the gold.
Yeah.
Right. And then we moved to a more electronic based economy, which is what we have today, where it's stock markets and there's no real gold, and it's all about shifting numbers around and balancing equations.
Yeah.
It's pretty much, and that's how we got the 2008 crisis, where everyone was buying houses. They were giving these loans to people that couldn't pay them back. I think called subprime loans, something like that.
Something like that.
And what it was is people would buy houses on these loans, but then they wouldn't have the money to pay back the loans, so they'd default.
It's not their first crash, right?
Yeah, there's the
there was other in the 70s, I think.
Yeah,
80s or something.
And then even before that, it was the black.
The recession.
The recession.
Yeah.
I was thinking Black Plague. No.
That's
it was no, not the recession. It was
not the recession. No.
What was it? It's terrible. We don't even know.
Yeah, back in 40s, right?
Yeah, and then World War II started.
Yeah, what was that called? Yeah.
Great Depression.
The Great Depression.
There you go. So the Great Depression happened, and then it plummeted, and the only way that people were able to... So World War I happened, we hit the Great Depression. World War II actually kickstarted us out of getting out of the Great Depression.
Yes.
And the reason for that is because money started circulating.
Yeah.
And then from there, America realized, war is a great vehicle for funding our economies. So that's why a lot of people say today, it's a war economy. That's why they haven't been out of a war since, I think since World War II, they haven't been out of war. World War II happened, and then they were was it the Vietnam War? Something like that. Since the Vietnam War, they haven't been out of war. Right? Anyways, yeah. So that's basically what happened there. in terms of money. We're not going to go into like the actual economics of it and like the conspiracies, etc.
Right.
The esoteric understandings, because it's like it's not really what this is about.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. Yeah.
What this is about is, does money buy happiness? So what are your thoughts, Vish?
So, well, in today's economy, I think it does bring happiness in the sense of choices.
Right. Totally. I agree.
Right.
So like money itself, the physical, like if I gave you like $100, you're not like actually happy about having the physical $100. You're happy about the opportunity to use the $100.
Right.
Right. Because like if it's just paper or if it's just numbers, the happiness fades. Right. It's like it's more like the higher the number, the more I can get things that I want.
Right.
Right. It's like a vehicle or a conduit, you know, to like allowing you to do things in life.
Yes. Yeah.
Because without money, how could you do things?
Exactly.
Right. Case closed. Money buys happiness. Podcast done. Just kidding. All right. So anyways,
in the general sense,
it's more about like, where do you derive happiness from? And then money can ultimately help get you there. I think the disillusionment is like when you win the lottery and then you get all this money and then it's like, I'm still the same person that I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're still dealing with the same struggles. You're still like nothing has been solved. And then Biggie even said like, more money, more problems, right? And then
yeah.
But like ultimately he was correct, because it's like when you have more money, it's like you have to think about other people asking you for money, or you have to think of like solutions to like oh, this aunt is poor, so I'm gonna give them some money, and then you know what I mean, like it really does add more problems in those terms,
right?
You know,
right?
So maybe it doesn't even buy happiness because it creates problems.
Well,
but it gives you opportunities.
Yes.
So then it's like, so what is money?
So I think it depends on your situation, right?
Right. So elaborate. Yeah.
And then maybe it depends on how much money you have. If it's causing happiness or not, right? So maybe if you have way too much, then you're gonna have people asking.
So you think there's a point of diminishing returns?
Yeah.
Well, there is that happiness index where it's like if you make 75 grand, everything pretty much becomes free. Like all your bills are paid for.
Right.
You're good.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to worry about anything. Like to live in like you know, you're not gonna buy a freaking boat, but like
yeah.
you have enough to just live for the rest of your life if you make 75 grand.
Right.
Right. But well, two things about that. The first thing is, my argument is, how much money do you really need? Because is 75 grand actually?
And I see that would be,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that would depend upon where you're living. Right. This is an average, right?
Okay, true. I see what you're saying.
Some areas are more expensive to live, so you need more money. Some areas are not. So like Middle America.
So it's like, what do you really want? So it's like, what do you want?
Yeah.
That's a real question.
Yeah.
So it goes back to the person. It's not really about like, does money afford things? It's sort of like drugs. It's like there's no good or bad. The drug is just the drug. It's the person who uses the drug that creates either a good or bad decision.
Right.
But even in saying that, like, what is good and bad? If you look at Nietzsche, like, there is no good or bad. It's just a concept of mind, right? Again, we won't get into that one. That'll probably be a later Socratic Dialogue. But yeah, I don't know. This money thing is very confusing. And it's like, what I find weird is how people choose to spend money in pursuit of trying to fill a hole.
So I think that's a different, yes. So if you're doing it as a crux to something.
Yeah. Crutch.
Crutch, is that what I said?
Crux
I did not say that.
Crux is like something in between
Whatever,
two things.
okay, you know what I meant.
Yeah.
So then it could be a problem, right? In the long run, I guess.
Yeah, totally. That's why I'm alluding to the fact that it's like, it's not really about money buying happiness. It's about you seeking happiness, because you could be poor. Like, so like if you check out my stories and stuff, and you've seen me going to Peru to help these people, like by filming this thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, you must have lots of money to do that. It's like, no, I was like really broke.
Right.
So it's like, did money buy happiness at that point? Yeah, it allowed me to buy the plane ticket to go and have the equipment to go do it. But it's like, it was like, another person could be like, oh, but I'm broke.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like you're not,
So maybe also I would think.
because you could be super poor and still be happy.
Yeah. What about maybe that's also about like like around like in your surroundings also. Like if you just have people who have money and then you don't, you would feel bad,
It's true too, yeah.
right? And then if you're around people with the same thing, but you're, you know, you're
So,
dealing with
so
the
it's
same.
about your experience.
Yeah. Can it that also
Yeah.
have an why not?
True. No, totally. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm just wondering, like, what place does money have in the pursuit of happiness?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Totally, yeah, your outside experience matters. And I'm thinking, like, okay, if I had money, I'd be able to get out of that experience, you know? But, like, there are people who live in, like, the favelas in Brazil, right? And, like, they're super happy because they're, like, they just need, or like, all right, I'm not Brazilian, so I'll use like a Filipino term. So there are people that live in the huts and in the Philippines, and they're like, all I need is rice and alcohol, and I'm happy. But it's like, yeah, but you needed money to get the rice and alcohol. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, what level of money is necessary for happiness? So I guess, all right, so we've accepted the fact that money does buy happiness, because money allows you to get things that you need.
Yeah.
That can fulfill you,
Right.
you know? But is it fulfill you? I guess it would be fulfill you. Because ultimately I was going to say, like, you can only fulfill yourself.
Yeah.
But, like, money does take some role in that. Maybe it's ultimately, maybe this is how it is. Money is like air. It's all around you, and you need it to live.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's like, but it's like, does air give me happiness? Is like, you know, it's like, does money buy happiness?
Well,
does
air is giving you the opportunity
exactly to live,
so that you can
be happy. So it's like, maybe we're just deconstructing, or like we're separating that notion too heavily.
Yeah.
You know, we're thinking of it in separate terms, but you have to think of it all as one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So maybe like nothing can provide you happiness because it's an experience.
Experience?
Yeah, happiness is an experience.
Right.
Right? So it's like nothing can provide you happiness except for the happiness itself, or the choice to be happy.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So a mindset.
I think so.
In the sense of it's a mindset. Yeah.
So it's like we keep trying to like say certain things, like, if I get this promotion, I'll be happy. If I graduate this course, I'll be happy. If I travel the world, I'll be happy.
Right.
Maybe it's like, but those are like big things, you know what I'm saying? And those big things come few and far between. It's about living for the little things.
Okay.
So it's like, if it required you to achieve some goal to be happy, then you'll never be happy. Or you'll be happy, but very transiently. You know, there's like a lot of people that say like, oh, all I want to do is be the UFC world champion. Then they become the UFC world champion. And then it's like, how do you feel? You're like, some people say I feel empty, or I feel the same.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like, why? You've been working so hard towards this goal, but in pursuit of that goal, you didn't realize one thing. It's like, it's not the goal. It's not the destination. It's the journey that provides you with the happiness.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're
Because
saying.
it's very momentary. It's
Yeah.
you are now the world champion. And it's like, okay, now we
Like the
must
little
wake up.
things. What about like?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's to live for the little things.
Cherish
You know.
those types of moments.
Because they're everywhere.
Right.
You know? There's way more little things than there are big things in this world.
Right.
Because once you hit the big thing, it's like, okay, and now, so like you've just become the world champion. Okay, now get off stage. Okay, now go to the hospital. Okay, now you're waking up the next day and you have to eat breakfast. Okay, it's a week from now. You know what I'm saying? Like that momentary piece, that momentary blip of time of like, you are now the world champion. It's already over. So you trying to attach to that singular moment,
Yeah.
it's not going to last.
Gotcha.
But a lot of people think that once I've achieved this thing, it will stay there forever. But thoughts and feelings are transitory. Like they come and they go. Transient,
Right. Yeah.
you know? So it's like happiness is not even correlated to money at all.
Okay.
It's correlated, but it's not a direct correlation.
No.
Yeah?
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I mean, it doesn't have to be connected.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be connected.
Yeah. It's a separate thing. Itself doesn't matter where you are in your situation as long as it's about like a mindset sort of thing.
Yeah, totally.
And
And it's like happiness and money are correlated either positively or negatively.
Yeah.
You can either be positive, like they both go up at the same time, or negatively correlated. When one goes down, one goes up.
Yeah.
Right? But the whole world is correlated because it's all connected.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, okay, you have $1 million.
This whole idea of happiness is just overrated.
Well, that's actually what the Buddha said. That's what the Buddha said. It's not about the pursuit of happiness, because with happiness comes sadness. You can't know that you're happy without the touch of sadness.
Right.
So like in being happy, you're sad because you know it will end.
Yeah.
So what the Buddha seeks out is equanimity, where it's neither happy nor sad. It's just what's happening in this moment. That's true joy. That's what joy is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And actually, that's a great thought, because it's like we're all like the American dream is like pursuing happiness, but it's not about pursuing happiness, because you could lose it, and that every happy thought is like has a trail of a sad thought.
It's how do you deal with it, or how to deal with those. Like you should be able to deal with those kinds of problems, and not like if you're just pursuing that, then something breaks down in between, and like
then you'll be sad.
Yeah.
Totally. But at the same time, it's like, why are we pursuing something because we don't even know that we are actually pursuing the thing we don't want? Right, because like in order to pursue happiness, you have to also pursue sadness, because you have to compare it to something. You're pursuing the sadness of I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the negative, and then you're in pursuit of the happiness. Like in order to pursue something that will make you happy, you have to think about the thing that'll make you sad. Right, because like how would I know if I'm going left if there's no right?
Right. To know exactly in the direction that you want to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what the Buddha's point was equanimity. So it's like, don't even think about happiness or sadness, because both, although happiness is good, happiness comes with sadness.
Right.
But if you just focus on equanimity, then there is no happiness and sadness. It's just happening. You know?
Yeah.
And that's what joy is. Because joy is neither happy nor sad. It's just equanimity.
Right.
You know?
Interesting.
Right? Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think we've had an interesting...
What about utilization of money? So, like, we were talking about this before. Like, it's like with the filling of the void. Like, a lot of people will spend money on things that are frivolous.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, like when you go to the club and you're like, okay, I'm gonna drop like $500
right
on like these shots, but it's like
Battle
like we were saying
service.
before,
Yeah.
there's no return on your investment. It's like, okay,
the ROI, yeah.
It's like a sunk cost at that point. You're just giving the money away for nothing. But like you could alternately use that $500 to like buy yourself something to make you better. You know. Right.
Yeah, that's a lot of the ways that I used to think as younger. Like the I don't know, like multiple uses of it. Like how do I say? Like the return on investment like should be
if you're using it at one time and then it's gonna go away,
right, yeah,
then it's useless.
Then to me, yeah, or it should be cheap. It shouldn't be expensive.
Unless it's an experience, though, because like you can use that one time and it's gone, but you'll gain knowledge out of that. Like you
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're also gaining from that, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean like reusing the device or whatever it is. It's also like what other things you've gained or learned from it, right?
Yeah. Okay. What's its like relational value to, like, like you must benefit way more than you will have lost.
Yeah.
You know, and like, yeah, I think that's where we both agree, and that's why, like, although, because if you watch our setup tour, it's like, yeah, we spent a lot of money on our setup. Right? It's not really a lot, but I mean, like, we did spend some money on our setup, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like,
It's not. It doesn't mean that we don't spend money. It's what we spend it on and how we use what we're spending it on.
yeah, totally.
Right.
And it's like I could have easily have bought, you know, something of like superficial value.
Yeah.
Right. I guess it's more like why you're buying these things. You know. So
Right.
like, all right, good example. So my belt, right? My belt was like, it was on sale though. It was like $100, but the actual retail value is $200.
Right.
Right. So it's like, but why would you spend $200? But that's like, there's a difference between frugality and spending wisely. You know, because it's like, okay, you can be frugal, and it's like, okay, I'll just buy like a $10 belt, but then it's like, so then your whole life experience is just going to be buying $10 belts. You know what I'm saying? But like,
Right.
for me, the belt looked really cool, it felt really good, and I could use it for a really long time. So it's like, the wiser decision would be to get the more stylistic belt than to buy a cheap one that I'll have to replace later. And you use belts every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas like I would personally never buy like a $500 t-shirt, because it's like I'm just using that one day and then people will know I'm reusing that shirt. You know what I'm saying? But like a belt is like a staple. I think like things that are staples, again, it goes back to the ROI. It's like, can you keep reusing this? You know, like,
Yeah.
and even if you can't, because like how you purchase video games, but then you return them. Like you like resell them,
yeah.
and then you just use that extra money for
Yeah.
like another game.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless they're bought digitally.
And then you can't return it.
Yeah. But the thing with digital is no tax.
So there's like some trade-offs, yeah,
Some
for
trade-offs.
sure. But like, yeah, RZA in his book and his interviews, he's like every time he made a paycheck from like a CD or something, he would always like buy something to make his craft better. You know, like it would be like either a beatbox machine or like better speakers,
Right.
or a new laptop. You know, he'd very rarely buy a chain. Like whereas like they get their paycheck and then everyone would go out and buy like chains and cars. He's like, how does that make me better? How will that make me more money in the long run?
Well, yeah. That's exactly right. When you buy those sort of things, it's only for short term.
Yeah,
Style or
and it's like superficial.
class, but it's also exactly that. Yeah.
But it's like, but then it's like, is it superficial? Because like I'm talking about the belt here that was like $200. Oh well, 100. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, is
Yeah.
that superficial? But it's like, I think it's again a balance of like, you need to know when it's superficial, when it's not. And no, I think.
And
it's
also,
more
I think it should.
why you're buying it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, also, why you're buying it? Are you doing it for, like, outside gain, or is
That's true, yeah.
that for your own and like that you wanted to do for yourself?
Totally. Yeah, actually, that's actually, you hit the nail right on the head. Like that is what it is. It's about like why you're buying something. It's not about the actual purchase of buying it. Because like maybe you derive happiness out of everyone else's joy, so, or like everyone else having a great time. So what you do is you do spend $500 on bottle service. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
like
yeah.
for you, it's about everyone being happy.
Yeah.
You know, so in that case, it's like, okay, so then it was worth the $500. You know, but it is all about the why you're doing something.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, and like it's sort of like the tattoos too, right? It's like, why would you spend so much money on tattoos? But it's like, because there's no ROI in the tattoo, but it's like but the ROI, I guess, would be like me looking at them and being like, oh yeah, because like I see them as reminders versus like, I'm not just getting something like that's a piece of art, or else I would have just bought a piece of art on the wall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
Because like you said, it's like what, like why are you doing it? It wasn't from a place of like affluence, like check me out, but
Yeah.
it's from a place of like, no, these things mean things and they're good reminders.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
I guess maybe that's what it is. It's like, all right, so we've established money Oh, that's funny. We actually went back. We went back on it. It's like, does money buy happiness? Yes and no.
Right.
Right? Because money affords you the opportunity to do things that will make you happy. But if you yourself are unhappy at your core, then it can't fix it.
Then it won't. Yeah.
So does money buy happiness?
Depends on
yes or no.
What's at the heart of the.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Ah,
So
it's
where
a
do
yes
we?
and no.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
that's what it is.
it's like, it depends.
It depends.
Like, it will buy happiness if you yourself are happy.
Mm-hmm.
Or it will, or if this will, like, afford you happiness
Right.
through your correct why. But if you are suffering on the inside and you're purchasing it for a bad reason,
Mm-hmm.
your why is incorrect, then it won't buy happiness.
Exactly.
Maybe it's money affords happiness.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, does money buy happiness? No, but it affords happiness.
Yes. I can agree with that. I can agree with
Right?
that.
Yeah, I think that's where we'll settle on that one. Because that isn't a debate. Like, we went into this, like, not really know. We had an idea. We're like, no, it doesn't buy happiness. Or no, sorry.
No.
We went in with, it does buy happiness.
Yeah.
But now thinking about it, it's like,
Or it's the wording that we use to fix that would be,
it affords happiness. Yeah. Interesting. You know what's funny about these Socratic dialogues, just thinking about it now, because, like, I read the Plato's Republic, and it's like, is that where Socratic Dialogue came from?
I think so.
Yeah, so Plato's Republic. So, like, it was just a podcast during their time. You know,
that's
it's
what
like,
that was for them. Yeah.
yeah, like, so if you actually read Plato's Republic, and that's why I hated it.
It's just a dialogue. It's just them talking.
But you don't think that. Like, everyone who's, like, you know...
They're adding too much to it, I think.
In their minds.
In their minds.
Like, a lot of people... Like, there's this guy, Journey Jiu-Jitsu. I said this before, but he is like, a classic is a book that everyone talks about, but nobody's read. Right? So everyone always talks about, like, oh, you know, have you read Plato's Republic? You know, you're into philosophy. And it's like, I did. And it was such a waste of time. Well, no. It wasn't a waste of time because I gathered that it's like you're just having a conversation, and everyone who derives philosophy from this is just listening to it and extrapolating your meaning.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's just like anybody who listens to this podcast and they extrapolate meaning. It's like, no, we were just having a conversation.
Yeah, and that's all that was, and that's all that they were trying to do at the time.
Just question
question things, and that was their main objective in a sense.
Yeah, so it's like it's sort of like today when I bought those Tibetan momos, because like everyone was like, oh, like there's this person I work with, like, oh, she sells her momos there, so I was like, oh, cool, like let me check out a Tibetan momo, and then I was like, this is a dumpling,
right?
You know, it's like it's a Chinese dumpling.
Okay.
So it's like, is it a Tibetan momo or a Chinese dumpling?
Right.
You know, but it's like we're you know what I mean, like we're.
Well, no,
we're getting lost in cement.
I don't know. I mean, I guess so, but I mean, those are just names, right? I mean,
but it's the perceived notion. So it's
or
like,
did you add that perceived notion?
No.
Okay.
Everyone's like that's the classification, right? It's like
Yeah, but then if you would ask them, but if you would ask them what is it similar to, would they say Chinese dumplings?
Because they're knowledgeable. What I'm saying is like from an outside observer who. So it's like the Plato's Republic. It's like you're an outside observer. It's like you're an out. That's right. So we don't edit these. That's right. You can hear that.
Yes.
So okay, so from an outside observer point of view, you're looking at it like this is something important.
Yeah.
Because we've separated it. Right? So it's like Tibetan momo, Chinese dumpling.
Yeah.
But if you actually look into it, it's like, no, they're the same thing. So like when you look at Plato's Republic, which is just a dialogue, people are like, oh no, it's a philosophical exploration into the foundation of Western society. That's what they'll say.
Right.
Right? But it's like, it was just a dialogue. They were just talking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like looking past the apparent separation into the non-separation of these are all one thing. We're just dividing it up into a myriad of different ways. But in dividing it, it creates confusion.
Right, yeah.
or confusion and hierarchy.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think it was necessarily sometimes intentional. Like, these just things generally would happen like that.
Yeah, because nobody looks into it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You just look at the perceived value. It's like if you had never seen the Tibetan momo or the dumpling before, you'd be like, wow, look at these like Tibetan momos. And then you go like to Chinese food, like, wow, look at these Chinese dumplings. It's like, if you actually just look at it, they're really the same thing.
Yeah. I mean,
just different sauces.
Right.
That's
I mean,
it.
I think people should do that more. I think that was something that I did.
But I think we live on a superficial level of like, nobody cares.
No. I know that. Yeah, right. I'm just saying, like, to cause in order to, I mean, this is just, like, I don't think it's gonna happen. It's just something, I don't know what the word is. I can't get it, but it's like, well, I guess what would hope to happen in order for like a better world in a sense, but like, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Of what? Oh,
Of
people
like, to understanding,
like
in a sense,
introspecting. More.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah. So like, because that's something that I did. Remember, like going to the church and seeing the exact similar.
I remember
nothing,
that.
But,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
all I
You
kept
went to
saying was
church
like,
with
I hear
me.
people talk about differences, and every time I went, I'm like, all I see is all I'm seeing is similarities. I don't know what.
But you know what that is? That's like team sports, man.
Right.
Because like my parents are super Catholic. They would never go to a Hindu temple.
Right.
And then
That's
the
fine.
like super no. But the thing about it, through separation you've created ignorance.
Okay.
So it's like, because I won't look at it,
They won't
I
know.
will never realize
Yeah.
that they're the same thing.
Right.
So it's like, because you broke the barrier of, you're like, okay, I go to temple a lot as a kid. Let me check out what like church is like.
Right.
But like somebody who's like a staunch believer in Catholicism will never go to a Hindu temple.
No.
Because they'll be like, or they'll go and they'll just be like, oh, this is some archaic BS that's like
Mhm.
not the same as what I believe in.
Right, and not willing to look further than that.
Right.
Right.
But then I guess it's all about having an open mind,
Yeah.
Because, or again, I love this line, but it's like, you have to be willing to stare into the dark abyss and don't blink. Because it's like, the reason why I call it the dark abyss is because the truth is like scary.
Right.
But you gotta like not blink. Because like in that moment, it's like, if you're a staunch believer in Catholicism, then you go to Hinduism and you're like, well, this is the same thing. But that's very scary. Because like, what does that mean about my belief system for the past like 60 years of my life?
Right.
So rather than facing your demon, you
Mhm.
just ignore it.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are levels to everything, because it's like if you're afraid of something, you're just going to avoid it. Everyone does it all the time. But it's like, what are you afraid of is the question. So like the person that like gets like blood tests every year,
Right.
in order to like check if they have cancer or something, and I never do that. I never go get blood tests. So it's like, are they thinking I'm ignorant?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm willing to look into like religious beliefs, unlike they are. So it's like, what's your comfortability level? Because we're all running away from something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be open-minded, but
But it's not always feasible. Like,
yeah, exactly.
but at the end of the day, like the people that we venerate the most, like the Buddhas and the Jesuses,
Mm-hmm.
they were all open-minded. Like if you look at it,
I mean, yeah, that's
So,
exactly right, because
right.
I mean, he was.
Jesus was a Jew.
Yeah.
Then he created Christianity.
Yes.
He wasn't a Christian, and then he
Right.
freaking was like, oh, let me just continue this on.
Yeah.
No, he was Jewish, and then he left it.
Yeah.
And then just like Buddha was Hindu, and then he left it.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like the people that we idolize the most are the people we don't even become like. Because the people that are willing to stare into the dark abyss, the truth, are the ones that we call greater than ourselves. Because we're too afraid to do it.
Right.
Maybe that's what that is. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you think about it,
Mm-hmm.
like, why are people special? You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, so like somebody who's like a basketball, like LeBron James, okay? They're like, oh my God, LeBron James, such a hero. But you don't see him training like they talk about Kobe Bryant all the time.
Mhm.
Kobe Bryant will be on the court 3 hours or whatever past everyone else that already left. And they're like, wow, how do you get the stamina to do this? Like, I don't want to be second best.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Right.
and then we call him special. But it's like, no, if everyone was staying 3 hours before, then he wouldn't be special.
They would. Right.
You
Right.
know,
Exactly.
the people that are special, like in this book, I read like the Icarus Deception.
Mhm.
It's like gods are just our best qualities as humans.
Yes.
So like whatever we look up to is like a god. God includes like Superman,
Yep.
Hercules,
Mhm.
Athena, like our dog, Zeus. All of these archetypes are just human qualities
Yeah.
beyond the norm.
Mhm.
You know. And then we just call them special because we can't do it.
Right. Or these are qualities we wish to reach.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's qualities we wish we had.
Yeah.
And that's why.
But they're not easily attainable.
And maybe that's why we created them in our minds, because we're like, this is something I strive towards.
Yeah.
You know, it's no different than like me looking at Steve Jobs and Elon Musk and being like, I want to be that intelligent. Because it's like, those are the archetypes. Those are like our gods of nowadays. We just call them
Right.
other things.
Yeah.
You know, we would never call them gods. Like we would never call them gods, but
No.
like if you like look at the similarity between a god figure and these like CEOs,
Mhm.
it's like it's the same thing. It's just things that we wouldn't do ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, or things that we wish we had.
We wish. Right.
Yeah, but then I guess the argument would be like, but gods can fly. We're breaking the boundary of reality. is what I'm
Right. Yeah.
saying.
But that's you keep adding on things to it that make it more
To make it
special.
more, yeah, like more separate from.
And then
me.
exactly, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
just so
adding
I
the
can make it more
separation,
special.
exactly.
Yeah.
That this is why we can't reach, so we are.
Yeah, so we are under them.
We
We
are
are
under
lower
them.
them.
Yeah,
Them.
yeah.
This is our place because they can do things that we can't do.
Right.
But it's like we can do things that they can't do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I think that was though between the different religions would be the one upping each other.
what do you mean?
Like that's just how it would grow. Like, oh, this god is stronger than yours. Like,
Oh yeah, true.
like
that is what.
that's what it
happened,
is.
though.
That's exactly that's what I'm saying. By adding these other features to it that
That aren't real.
aren't real to make it even more powerful in a sense.
Yeah, totally. My god's better than your god. Why? Because my god can fly. Oh yeah, well my god can fly and shoot lasers out of its eyes. Oh yeah, well mine's indestructible.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Team sports, but that's all it comes down
Or
to.
like you have multiple gods, so if you have one that does all of that. Like, so you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. That's
just
true.
what I
Like,
think that's how-
that's true. Or the best one is so like you have the Greek gods, right?
Yeah.
And then like, oh, like we have all these like we have 25 gods or whatever, however many there are, right?
Mhm.
And then it's like Catholicism comes in. We have one god that's omnipotent, and he can create and destroy anything at will.
Right.
They've got like the ultimate god,
Yeah.
you know, whereas other gods have like human flaws.
So that's why the other.
Christianity's
So
like,
yeah,
no,
exactly.
bro.
That's what the with Moses. That's what the the Jewish Bible, right? That's what they
Yeah.
brought. So then the other two had to be similar in the sense.
That's true because like the
how
Egyptians
do you
had like
beat that?
Ra,
Yeah, yeah.
and
how
like
do
the
you-
Egyptian gods could die because Anubis got ripped apart.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, was it Anubis? Or whatever, one of those gods. They got like ripped apart.
Yes.
And then like Greek gods can die. So then Christianity's like, you know what? I got it. We're gonna make the most indestructible god ever. And
Right.
we win the war.
Exactly.
You know. But that's what the belief system becomes, and that's why
Mm.
Catholicism took over like the majority of the world. Or not even. No, it's not Catholicism. It's the Abrahamic God.
It's a Abrahamic.
Because from Abraham
Yes.
created Jesus' God, which created Islam's God.
Yep.
So it's like it's the same God though. So that's
Mm.
like the ultimate God.
Exactly.
You know. That's really what it. Wow, this is so like anti-religious right now, but it's like if you think about it, it's like kids when they're like creating
Mhm.
things. You totally got it. It's like mine's gonna be your God.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
such a childish behavior.
And then from there, we've
But,
we've
yes.
created these like acolytes, these like strong believers
Mhm.
who will fight the wars on behalf of that God. It's like, no, our superhuman God will destroy them. Like,
Yeah,
give us
yeah.
the power. Let's
Right.
go to war.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like, because like in the
Right.
Bible, remember in the recap, I said like, I think it's in Ezekiel how like they had already escaped,
Mhm.
and then like they're like, actually, we should turn around and we should destroy Egypt. It was in there. I was like, wait, what? You guys have already left. I don't understand. Why are
Right.
you going back? You know, it's like, no, we need to stomp out that monotheistic God for that polytheistic religion for our monotheistic one.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you'd already got what you wanted. Now you're just getting greedy.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Or maybe they had the vendetta because of like, they're like, you did the whole like, let my people go thing. So it's like, now that they got strong,
right,
they're like, let's go take our revenge.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's the thing about like history and stuff. I love like looking into it because like you never know. It's really just like domino effects into time. Like we had that conversation about fractals, right? We're just fractals, and it's like you never know what was the impetus for it. So it's like the Jewish people, they could have like Semites, the Semites, right?
Okay.
And then they would have like left, and then the leader of the Semites was probably like, you know what? Let's just go back and take them out. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and then that sparked history.
Yeah.
You know, like these leaders with their like infinite powers, with too much of a whim, you know, and it's even still happening in today, you know.
Yeah.
Like if you watch The Vice, we'll do a recap on Vice, but if you watch the way Vice is, it's like, okay, we're just going to put this person in charge to like, you know, like be a bumbling fool, and then we're going to get actually like Dick Cheney in there to like do all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, that was just a fractal. It was a moment. And then from that, it was birthed from his childhood. Remember, like he always wanted to become somebody.
Yep.
So it's like this all led up to this one moment of him colluding to like, you know, and like to like take subtle control. Yeah. And then from there, we're where we are today. Yeah. It's like small things make a big difference. It's like that line of
all
like,
the things that
when a butterfly flaps its wings, there's a tornado in Hawaii or whatever.
Right.
It's not real, but it's like it's basically what it's saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's a good chat. Well, we deviated from the money thing, but yeah.
Into the money handlers. I don't know.
Oh, that's true. That is what we did. We went from that's true. We went from the history of money, does money buy happiness, to how do people use money? Or the money handlers. Yeah, you're right. It's not really the people in charge.
Yeah, well, sometimes it goes in directions we don't know.
Yeah. All right. So I guess hopefully we'll get that Vice one out. But money can't buy happiness.
Yeah, I got to do notes on them.
Yeah. But money can't buy happiness because you yourself have to be happy first.
Yes.
Money, no. The biggest takeaway from this whole podcast is this: money can't buy happiness, but money can afford happiness.
Right.
It's also a pun because you have to afford something.
Yeah.
Get it? Ha ha. All right. Till next time. Any final thoughts?
Yes.
What?
I got 99 problems, but money ain't one of them.
Touche. Give us your money.
Okay.
Because it would afford more happiness.
Yes.
All right. Take it easy.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.